sandals and shorts, and surf and scuba and sand and sailing and soccer. San Diego, California.
Season's greetings and welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, episode 229. Guess what? What a cool intro, but there's the music. There's the music bed. Shout out.
Good job.
Worked all weekend on that. Season's greetings to everybody who is here, who is on Instagram, who is on everywhere where we transmit live every Monday for 229 straight weeks. We're back. Chucky Mania ran wild last week. The announcement and presentation of Irving and Chucky Lozano for SDFC at the Rady Shell, along with some Lunai performances. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, some behind the scenes of what we went through that day, and just overall, just the takeaways. There was a couple of people that we talked to, that we spoke to. It was a video that went out. We're going to get into that nitty gritty, as well as San Diego Wave. San Diego Wave heartbreaking tie in DC. We're going to get into the details with Abraham Cepeda, the great Abe Cepeda. We had a great article, an op-ed on a Sunday. Very, 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 very opinionated, I'd say. On top of that, we're going to go ahead and welcome the Call the Sirens back with a very interesting and fantastic guest from the Sirens, Nicole Peterson. We're going to have a special guest as well. We're going to go ahead and talk about Pride Raiser and everything that's been happening in that side of the soccer ball at Snapdragon Stadium. Also, we're going to go ahead and touch on, what are we going to touch on? El Zarape de San Diego community.
Zarape de San Diego.
El Zarape de San Diego, formerly known as Retas FC. We're going to talk to Southwestern College coach, women's head coach, and my former professor, Coach Carolina Soto, about the Alex Morgan Foundation and Let's Go South Bay and their initiative that they had a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be very, very good to have here. Season's greetings to everybody who has welcomed us into their devices. Thank you, Eric. Really took a while for that. More surprises to come in the intro side of things. Just in the general soccer sphere, goals, gaffes, and greats is back this week, where we'll go ahead and break down some goals, some gaffes, and some greats of the week.
Maybe more than one gaff.
Maybe more than one gaff. Definitely one gaff that comes to mind, comes to the head. But with that said, felices fiestas, mijos. Season's greetings. Season's greetings. We've met a lot of cool people at Chucky Mania. We met a lot of cool people. Just to kind of around.
Okay, and let's recap the event, right? That was a very long day.
Yeah.
Specifically for you. You were there. First one there, probably. Last one out.
Monster. Abraham was there around the time I was there. Really cool of him to show up. But yeah, so officially, obviously, Chucky Lozano to San Diego FC. First designated player, first contratación to really cross that area. Did you play that or did I play that? What happened there? What is going on there? But yeah, so it's all started with the press conference over in Snapdragon Stadium that saw a lot of people who I've never seen before coming out of the woodwork, and some old pals, some old friends. Very interesting to see what the general consensus was, and we knew it was going to be a lot of Spanish speaking media, and just in general the challenge of Chucky and just the language barrier. Obviously coming into it, he understands some English.
I don't think the language barrier is going to be a big challenge, if anything. Maybe just for like press conference or anything like that. But I mean, this is a man who went from Mexico to the Netherlands, right? And then from the Netherlands to Italy. So language, he's used to that, kind of like being uncomfortable with the languages, I'm assuming. And I mean, English is probably not too difficult to pick up, if anything.
Excuse you. Who is speaking right now? English is not too difficult to pick up, Chiva.
Especially if you're from Mexico, like you already know some words. So he was able to speak a little bit. But imagine going and then trying to go in the Netherlands and do a press conference over there, like I would assume that's more difficult.
Look at that. Putting some technology to use over here. So we get there, and we're going to be giving away the scarf that they were giving out on that press conference. It's a double-sided scarf. Probably next week. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so in general, this event, the biggest event for soccer in San Diego outside of the announcement that MLS was going to come into San Diego. Right? Since then?
I would say so. I would agree with that.
Since
statement.
then, right? Because I mean, before then, Wade was already here. You know, we wrote that news of Loyo not being involved. But ultimately, it came down to the questions. And okay, just some background information. These questions were, hey, Chiba.
Hi.
These questions were not predetermined. We're all just kind of sitting down. You see me right here. Watch on this thing. No, I just left. Like bottom right, bottom right, you can see the bright Hawaiian shirt.
I was so upset because I got up to turn on the camera, and then Abe told me, "Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get to ask questions in the press conference because there's going to be a mixed zone." I said, "Okay, that's cool. I'll just stand in the back to make sure the cameras roll in, everything's good." So I told him, "Okay, I'm just gonna stay back here," and then I do see the people with the microphones. And I'm like, damn. And then they said, we're going to get to ask questions in a bit. And I was like so mad at Abe. Abe, just letting you know, I was really upset at you.
There was a lot of that. And you know what? I also got in the crossfire because I was told during the mix zone that everybody would go, that they would take Chucky to the left side of things first.
Yeah.
And I was blatantly lied to my face. No fault on their own.
I got there to the right.
You were there first. And I was like, hey, get over here. What are you doing over there? What are you doing over there? Yeah.
But okay, we're getting a little. So we're sitting there in the press conference, or you two are sitting there. I'm standing in the back, and it's time to ask questions. Chucky Lozano has some words, and Tom Penn has his words, and we know
Tyler Heaps gets introduced.
We know Tom Penn loves to say a couple words into the microphone for sure. And it came down to start the questions. And
yeah.
I gotta say, man, you were the first fucking one.
I don't know if, like, in the grand scheme of things, right? Like,
I don't know if it's a big deal
or not. But
you
like
were the first one.
The fact that I'm asking questions to Chucky Lozano is really ridiculous on its own. Just in general, just the fact that this is a life that we're living, and you know, I see people, as Tom Penn is taking in the moment to his phone.
Here's also a thing that did we start asking the questions there already? Or
no, not yet. Tom Penn was scrolling around. Maybe actually.
I think questions might have started already.
Where's my hand?
Tyler Heaps is
talking. Blah blah blah. Pull up the seek. There's my hand. No, it's not. Here, let's get some audio on here.
Yeah.
Like Tyler mentioned, the people that's going to be, you know, surrounding you.
Yes, we're close. 35. All right, so here's a question, right? So I'm like, cool, let's be the first question. Let's get it out of the gate. My initial thought is like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make Chucky comfortable. I know he doesn't know English that well. Let's go ahead and put him in a relaxed zone. I'm going to start my question in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bilingual, being able to do that. I can communicate well. And in my head, I'm just reciting what I'm going to ask. My question was like, this is how I was going to ask it. Hola, ¿qué tal, Chucky? Bienvenido aquí a San Diego, tu nueva casa. Tony Sánchez de San Diego.Fútbol. Primeramente, quería saber qué es esta aventura nueva con tu familia aquí en San Diego. ¿Qué te parece la MLS? Y el desafío de venir a San Diego, a una ciudad que nunca ha ganado un título en las ligas mayores, las grandes ligas, Major Leagues. ¿Qué es lo que te parece ese desafío y qué te interesa de eso?
Yeah, I think he would have definitely kind of grasped things better because when you asked it in Spanish, the answer just completely avoided the
second part of it. So okay, so this is happening. Like the MC announces, my hand is up right there. You can see my hand is up. And then so it ensues.
I have a question for any of our speakers. Please raise your hand.
Hands already raised. Hands
That's why you went
already
first.
raised.
And we'll hand you the microphone. Please state your name and your media organization before asking your questions. We'll start.
Cool. Excellent. Excellent. I'm ready. Hola, ¿qué tal, Chucky Lozano? Hola, ¿qué tal, Chucky?
Yeah,
Bienvenido
yeah.
a San Diego. Pa, 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 pa. At this point, my hand is on the mic already, right now.
Yeah.
And I'm about to put it up
And
because-
blast away.
and go. And then this happens.
with questions in English, and then we'll move in Spanish. Chucky will
You could just see me look to the left. I'm like,
answer in
Pardon?
Spanish. I'll be
Pardon?
managing general translations and
general
who wants to
translation.
kick it off.
Cool. And so begins the press conference.
Yeah.
Hola, Chucky. Bienvenido aquí a San Diego. Tony Sánchez, San Diego Fútbol. What about the San Diego city, the people attracted you to this be a destination for you? And on top of that, the adventure and challenge of bringing a championship to a city that hasn't had a championship in any major sport. What does that attract you to San Diego FC?
Oh, Tom Penn did not like that, Tony. Tom Penn, big CEO Tom Penn
I don't
did
think he did.
not like your question.
And you know what? That's okay for him not to like that. That's an uncomfortable question. And guess what? That question is an uncomfortable question because I, as a San Diegan, know what that feeling is in a major sport to not be represented in the championship setting. And it's upsetting, perhaps, to have that be a first question, but it's incredibly important for the people that listen to San Diego Punto Futbol, the people that are interested in soccer in San Diego, to be able to be represented in that sort of arena,
Yeah.
to have a title, to have a star in your next to the name San Diego, right? To
would
have La
say-
Raza represented with
100%.
a star there. That-
100%.
I mean,
This question, I mean, I feel like we would have gotten a way better answer if it was in Spanish because, I mean, again, the second part was avoided. We couldn't hear Tony's question. What was it? Oh,
so the question was, and this, if I have the whole translation, I sat down and did an entire translation video, so you can go ahead and check that out. So the question was essentially like, "Hey, welcome to San Diego. What about this new adventure excites you? What about the city of San Diego really attracted you to be here? And then what about the challenge? Excites you to try to bring a title to the city of San Diego, a city that's never won a major championship in the major leagues?" Like
it's facts on
it's
facts.
a facts
It's
on facts on facts.
100%.
I don't want to speak for anybody. I don't want this freeze frame to be freeze framed in the office, because as we'll get to a little bit later, Abraham being a witness to this, not only do we have listeners across San Diego, not only do we have listeners within San Diego, we not only have listeners within certain clubs, we have soccer ops people listening, and it was confirmed. We'll get to that in a little bit, which was very, very fun on that end. Anywho, that was what the question was.
Pues la verdad que me encantó la ciudad, me encantó la gente es
I love the city. I love the people.
También, como le comenté hace
And
unos instantes,
as I commented a
creo
couple
que todo el
instances ago,
proyecto de San Diego
I
me
think
motivó mucho
San Diego
a venir
motivates
para
me.
acá. Tuve diferentes propuestas,
There was different
pero
offers,
creo que esta
but I think
me
this
llenó
one,
mucho en todos los sentidos,
this one checked a
porque
lot of
me
boxes in a
sentí
lot of ways,
muy identificado
and I feel
en
very
todos los
identified
aspectos.
in a lot of
Creo
aspects,
que para mí eso fue lo más importante, y
and that was the most important thing.
también la gente, la ciudad es muy, muy bonito.
Freaking Chivas couldn't get him, man.
And
God damn
then
it.
the city itself is very, very beautiful. So, I mean, I think that was a fair question, and people can ask, and people can be critical of the type of questions that I ask.
Mhm.
I asked Casey Stoney very awkward question last time out. I was a little bit nicer this time around.
I think with this, right? I mean, the press conference keeps going, and the
Mhm.
questions are being asked, like, "Hey, like, what about hey, like, how do you like this move? Or like, what do you think about MLS?" I think Emor Villa, shout out to Emor, he has a very good question,
Mhm.
which is something that I was like, okay, maybe what if we ask this? And it's more about, hey, like, are you worried about being able to not play, or maybe not playing in the World Cup? Because a
Mhm.
lot of times when Mexican players come to the MLS, they're kind of like blocked from Mexico. They don't get called up anymore like it's happened to Carlos Vela, although that was a different story. It's happened to HH, Chicharito. So a lot of times when Mexican players go to the MLS, it's kind of like they're blacklisted to get called up into the Selección Mexicana. So Emor Villa asked him that. I thought that was very fair. Not gonna lie, Tony, I was in the back and I was salty.
Yeah, you were stood there because you couldn't
I
walk
was texting
back.
you. I was like,
I
am
this.
so mad because I wanted to ask my question.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened where the lady on the left looked back and I said, hey, I raised my hand and she said, yeah. She walked over, handed me the mic, and I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to get to ask a question.
How far close to the end?
It was towards the end, not too far down, maybe like a minute behind that. It was before Tyler Heaps started talking, I think.
Okay, Tyler Heaps hasn't spoke. Si hablé con Jaime, that was Emor's. Bienvenido primero? No. In any case, and I'll find it right now.
Yeah,
but,
no. So I asked Chucky Lozano, hey, welcome to San Diego. You arrived to San Diego. Oh,
down. Good.
You're good.
All right. Here's Chiva.
Llegas a San Diego con un contrato de 4 años. Al final de ese contrato, ¿tú ves San Diego como tu último club o quisieras seguir tu carrera después de esos 4 años?
So I asked him, hey, you arrived to San Diego on a 4-year contract. At the end of those 4 years, do you see San Diego as your last club? I mean, he'll be 33 at the end of that. Or is there a future after those 4 years that are beyond San Diego?
No, por mí sería fenomenal quedarme el resto de mi carrera aquí.
For him, it would be phenomenal to stay the rest of his career with San Diego.
Lo principal es demostrar y trabajar de la mejor manera con ellos.
The priority is to just demonstrate and work with the team.
Sería muy bonito estar lo que falta de mi
And
carrera.
time will only tell, but for me, it would be really nice to
Hola,
be able to
Chucky, ¿qué
finish
tal?
my
Buenos
career.
días, Aide Valdez.
So, I mean, there you have it. Chucky Lozano would love to spend the rest of his career here. Whether that's a fact or not, who knows? Only time will tell, like he said. A lot of times players say, yeah, I would like for this to be my last club, and then they don't end up having a contract extension. In 4 years, a lot of things can happen. Who knows whether this club is going to be one of the best in the MLS or one of the worst in the MLS.
Yeah.
So 4 years come and Chucky Lozano still has some legs on him. I can definitely see him. It really depends on where the club is, whether he's won a championship already, whether he hasn't, whether he's built the legacy, whether he's maybe suffered injuries throughout his career here in San Diego. Chucky Lozano is known to be very injury prone from time to time.
Yeah.
So not to jinx anything, but
he has to go a whole half a season uninjured with PSV Eindhoven.
yeah, and I mean, I think you mentioned like, oh, PSV could very easily like not play him or just use the
Run
shit
him
out
to the
of
ground.
him and play him
Yeah.
every single game and get the most you can out of him before you ship him out. But yeah, I mean, after this, there wasn't much anything else in the press conference, but
There wasn't around there.
Mhm.
Again, very interesting just to see the amount of people that came out, and a validating experience overall once again, and really thankful to everybody who's put us in this place. And you know, it's 4 years of work and stuff, and the conversations that we had with different people. Here's the thing. We spoke about Chucky Lozano so long ago.
Yeah.
This deal was getting worked on since the beginning of the year, literally January 1st. I had first heard about it 2 weeks after that, like just
Mhm.
mid-January. And I think that's when the wheels started turning here and there, that there may be something from there we built. And, you know, a lot of our sources aren't in English. I'll just say that. that's just fact. Something else that we spoke of, and it's also sourced from via sources, is that the MLS Super Draft and the combine and everything that goes along with that is planned to be in San Diego in December of this year. So that's something that we kind of dropped on social media. Just there's a couple of instances where that seemed to be the case. We'll see if that does flesh out. So an interesting kind of setup. It would make sense. San Diego's expansion year, 2025 is when they start. Here's the expansion draft. Here's all these accoutrements and pageantries that the MLS can present. overall, I think a good spectacle of a press conference. San Diego FC did well. It was going to be a long day for the people that we know involved and working, because this is the first half. This is the first half of what we would see on this June 13th with Chucky Mania.
The thing with is the first time you see a press conference in this room.
Yeah.
It is a copy paste of what the NWSL Championship did for their pre-match press conferences. So I mean, I think it's a lot of planning and copying of what previous events have done before. But yeah, it was a great press conference. I mean, it's a lot bigger than just having it in the small press conference room. That would have been not the best place to do it. So yeah, props to San Diego FC. And I did like that this was followed by a mixed zone. So not only do you only get to ask your one question to Chucky, but now you kind of get to ask more detailed stuff. So like Tony said, I was standing on the right side of once we headed out into the tunnel to go into the mix zone. And then Tony just casually walks in. He's like, hey, vato, vente pa acá.
Yeah, get over
Bring
here.
the
What are you
camera.
doing over there?
Get over here. I was told that we're going to go over on the left. So I go grab the camera and move it over to the left, all the way far left. Used to see Chucky Lozano come in, taking pictures with everyone, taking pictures with his family, and then
He stays over
we
there.
get another media member on right on our left yelling, "Over here! Bring him over here! Bring him over here!" And we're like, "Man, this is really gonna just kill the chances of him coming on
Killed
this
the
side."
vibe.
And they just take him to the opposite side.
Whoops.
How long did you have to wait, like, for him to get to you? Was it a while? Or was it kind of like quick?
11. I know it was like 11:35 because I had to be at 97.3 The Fan with Craig at 12.
Okay,
So that was, and I made it right on time. So
awesome.
that was interesting. But no, so at the end, the one thing, and then we'll pause Chucky Mania here, and because again, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack. Chucky Mania did run wild on the shell. There's some unhappy people because of that event. There's some unhappy people when they got to the event. There's some very happy people overall, including Chucky Lozano and company and SDFC with all the hard work that was put into that event. But overall, the last thing we'll say, and the last thing I'll say, is that I highly recommend you guys to stick around, because if you didn't see that video that we posted on that day, it had a interview with Tyler Heaps. He's been acting CSO, just chief of soccer operations and assistant sporting director. Who he's assisting beats me. It's just him chilling in the office, giving himself some orders. But at the end of the day, that was the interview that honestly gave us the most insight into the team building, just everything that's happening for SDFC at this moment. So to kind of answer that in the chat, Carl, Sergio Ramos rumors still going, this happening, question mark. There is truth to some of what we're asking here. There is truth. There is rumors. Obviously, with him being released from Sevilla today, it adds fire to the fuel. Where he's going to be playing between now and 2025 is different, because I don't think Sevilla is going to take him for half a year. He could just going to be like, there's different components to that. Who do you think the first pick will be? Says Uke Journey. We'll get into all of that and break down the draft prospects, because again, it's very interesting with Right to Dream. They essentially have the draft capital within. They have all the people that they would want in Right to Dream already. So when team building and what's that next step in order to go ahead and construct team one for SDFC, how important that draft is going to be, I'm not entirely sure. But if you get a good player, you can go ahead and get a good player at the end of the day. It'll be interesting to see what type of level we'll see from Chucky, and if he performs, and like I know he will be able to break the barrier and be called up to play El Tri. And that's everybody's hope at this point.
Yeah.
That's San Diego FC's hope. That's Chucky Lozano's hope. That's a lot of San Diegans' hope, to be able to be represented by a San Diego FC player in the World Cup for El Tri.
And the thing is, for Chucky Lozano, there's already kind of like a measure of what he needs to do, especially with Carlos Vela doing it for a couple of years already in the MLS. So there's already that expectation of, okay, he's going to come in and do it literally exactly what Carlos Vela did, if not better. So it's going to be very interesting, and there is a lot of pressure there for Chucky Lozano, but only time will tell with how they perform and the play style that SDFC has.
All right, we're going to go ahead and put that on pause. There is still so much more to unpack
Yeah.
with Chucky Lozano. There is a team that is playing here in San Diego. The ball is currently rolling. They also play in Snapdragon Stadium. They did play away, and that's the San Diego Wave. San Diego Wave playing away in the swamp that DC is, because that's what it is. It is a swamp. San Diego Wave time. With that, we're going to go ahead and bring in our trusty correspondent, a fire spitter sometimes,
A firecracker.
a firecracker cracking individual. We're going to go ahead and bring in the great Abe Cepeda. Abraham, welcome on back. Season's greetings to you, my friend. San Diego Wave.
Season's greetings. It's been,
Hey, now.
that was a lot of. I wish I got in on that press conference talk because, I mean, you're stealing my jokes over here. I'm
What
getting
jokes
in
did I
trouble.
steal?
Chiva, I'm sorry about messing that up, Chiva. I thought there was gonna be only
Yeah.
mixed zone questions, so that's on me.
No,
I'll take
okay.
responsibility for that.
I got to ask my question. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no, we're fine.
good.
I think
But-
I think the mix zone was a blunder on me. And how often do I admit to blunders? Never.
Never.
That was on you guys.
Never,
You guys shouldn't
yeah.
have listened to me. What's wrong with you?
100%.
What joke did I steal, Abe?
I made that assistant. He's assistant to who?
That was you. I did steal that
My
joke.
You stole
And
that
you know
joke
what?
right from me.
Wow.
I told you
So-
that exact.
So this is like the episode of
You're
Arthur.
a phony.
No, listen. This is the episode of Arthur, the Aardvark, when everybody has to do a report on a different historical person. Binky, the bully, had a presentation on Christopher Columbus, and then Buster, the jokester, had a presentation on King Tut. And so Buster's super nervous. Binky's going on, does his presentation, does terribly, but just ends the speech with Buster's opening joke that was told to him earlier. And the joke was, what does King Tut say when he's scared? I want my mummy. And Mr. Ratburn in the class lost it. He got an A. Buster comes up and he was going to open with that and eat shit. So Buster to Binky, I apologize.
Pinchato nerdo.
That, I mean, I can go down an encyclopedia
you
of Arthur
can. Yeah, I
episodes.
know you
It's
can.
insane.
I've
I
known you
love
for a while.
Arthur, but I cannot recall it like that.
Yeah, there's total recall up here for that. Not for joke stealing. Anyway,
All right, gentlemen, San Diego Wave played. These are highlights from Orlando Pride.
that is highlights from Orlando Pride. I was testing you.
Yeah. San Diego Wave did head over to Washington, played Washington Spirit. And in a game where the expectations weren't all there, right? We didn't know if was going to be a San Diego Wave team to pull off a victory. It very much seemed so until the last moments of the match, but just to get started on that starting lineup for San Diego Wave, again, it was a very solid lineup. If you all agree, Kalen Sheridan in a goal. The backline kind of stayed the same with McNabb, Guillermo, Dahlkemper, and Lunsvik. We had Calaprico and McCaskill again at the center mids, Jaden Shaw at the 10, Sofia Jakobson getting the start today at the right wing, Maria Sanchez on the left wing, and Alex Morgan back on top. Was this a better lineup with Jakobson in than Maya Jones?
I think so. Jakobsen looked pretty good up there. I still don't think it would be as good if they put Mackenzie Doniak up there,
Yep,
but
I agree.
having her as a sub it looked good when they did it, but I personally like Mackenzie Doniak for more of the game.
My thing is, why is Casey Stoney still not starting Mackenzie Doniak after she's proven that she's your best player or the player in the best form at the moment for San Diego Wave? I think, if anything, you'd want to kind of exploit that and just give her more minutes since she's playing so well. I mean, whether she maybe she has a slight injury or anything. And I am upset that none of us asked about that, but this was a very solid lineup in general. Sofia Jakobson is a proven player already. Tony, anything to add to the starting lineup? Did you like it? Anything you want to see differently? I know you're a big McCaskill believer. How are you liking her playing more in that more central role?
I think it fits her style well. It's a style that she can definitely mold into, and that's you're not asking somebody to do something that they're not used to, right? McCaskill already plays in that aggressive, energetic style to begin with, so she's gonna go ahead and run 110 miles an hour for the entirety of the match. So I think that really suits her well. Gives Calaprico a little bit of more space to be able to take time and be offensive. She can go ahead and move up on the field and give that space behind her, because she knows that McCaskill's going to go ahead and come back and have the pace to take somebody on. It's not like Emily Van Egmond, where, you know, she's not as pacey. So you might have that in the back of your mind where I can't move up and create as much. And on top of that, McCaskill can also be exactly the same thing. She can also create. But in the beginning, honestly, it was the absolute Washington Spirit show. I thought that this was going to be one of these matches that was like, ugh. I remember last year's LAFC match at an away stint, and that was not good. That was not a good matchup to see San Diego Wave try to go two por two. As you see here, like Wave incredibly lucky to get away with that right there. Hitting the post, great play, great dummy, self-assist.
And then this was just a mistake by Hannah Lundvik. I mean, you don't do a pass like that, and they just got saved by the woodwork. I don't know, Hannah Lundvik, I mean, she's very young. She's going to make mistakes, but a mistake like that can definitely cost you a big game like this.
Yeah, that was definitely a big issue there. But when you have Trinity Rodman coming at you all game, I think you're going to make a lot of mistakes like that, because Trinity Rodman, just having an elite player like that at the top that's so young and like rushing at you the entire game, it's a wonder that they only let one goal in, honestly, because she was on it all game.
Yeah, she was, and there's a reason why she's a regular starter for the U.S. Women's National Team. So, I mean, again, props to the San Diego Wave defense for managing to hold off on Spirit's scoring until the very end. I mean, the way it happened, we'll get to it, but Abe, you were telling me before the podcast started that, I mean, San Diego Wave is the second best defense in the league, and that's proven with their low tallies on goals against.
Yeah, for sure. I think with your center back pairing of Naomi Girma and Abby Dahlkemper, and then Lundqvist and McNabb, and they've had a few people swapping around in the fullback positions, but when you have those two center backs, especially Naomi Girma, that can just shut everything down, shut down runs, she's one of the faster center backs that you'll see in the NWSL, so she's just been making good play after good play, and to hold them off for like the first 20 minutes with how hard Washington was pouring on, it's kind of surprising. And then like the first chance that San Diego did have, it was like, this is literally the first time they're going to take a shot, which is pretty wild.
And who started this play? Savannah McCaskill.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the reasons why you bring Maria Sanchez, right? Just those crosses that she's able to put in, like elite, with very little space. Like Tony said, it's elite. And I think Jaden Shaw, I mean, with the mistake on stepping on the ball and not having the best, I mean, it worked out. But I mean, Tony's slowing it down to break it down. Yeah, like you see the space that Maria Sanchez has here. And again, it's that little instinct waiting for a space to open up.
She could have go ahead and laid off that pass, but you put your teammate in a box where now she's got to figure out what to do. It's not a lot of space. You're running you're running against the end line. Like, there's just a lot of questions. But again, it's that holding play that really makes that difference, Shiva.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the patience that she has, and that's due to the experience. Finds the space right here, puts a deadly cross where the goalkeeper doesn't know whether to come out or not. And Jaden Shaw has that natural instinct of knowing where to be, knowing how to get behind the defender's back. And again, she gets this bad first touch, but it really works out that it's just the ball just died there, that she was able to still finish the play.
Yeah, I mean, that's heads up. That's as heads up as it gets. It's
and I think this was a great thing for Jaden Shaw, because she hadn't scored in a while, and I mean, kind of give her that confidence again. Now you need this from Alex Morgan. You need her to score a goal to build that confidence back up. But again, Abe, you said it. This is the first time they kind of showed anything in attack and they score goals. What are you thinking in this moment?
Yeah, it was really nice to see, especially Maria Sanchez get that assist. She's been giving service like that a lot this season, so it's nice to see one actually go into the goal. And when Jaden Shaw was talking about this goal, she kind of made sure to give credit to Alex Morgan for kind of drawing defenders into the front post. Mm-hmm. But watching the replay, I don't see it that much. Like, I think she kind of draws defenders in up at the top, but like Jaden Shaw makes a run in where there's absolutely no one, and it's kind of lucky there. But I mean, I don't know. I think as long as Alex Morgan is drawing defenders away and letting other people score, then it's not too bad to have a center forward like that.
And that's the thing, right? If Alex Morgan's going to be struggling at in finishing or even just scoring any goals, why not start using her as the dummy and just attracting those defenders, right? And pulling that mark. In Spanish, we call it jalando marca. So, I mean, there's a chance that you pull 2 defenders and the space opens up for Jaden Shaw or another player to go in and finish. I mean, I think someone called us out, Tony, during the week of saying something about Alex Morgan not being like taking things seriously or anything like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like players do get comfortable at all levels. So, I mean, I hope this isn't that case. And I think Alex Morgan, the way we ask Casey Stoney is like, hey, like, what are those conversations like? And Casey Stoney expressed, hey, like, yeah, I mean, I know she's frustrated, but she just has to keep working too. And it's very Piojo Herrera answer, a seguir trabajando.
You got to keep working.
You got to keep working.
Got to stay in the lab. And no, I mean, at the end of the day, like this entire match is so weird, and for a lot of reasons, right? Because you had Wave really showcasing their strength in the defense that they had. Naomi Girma playing very well. Abby Dahlkemper playing very well. Like she's not like she wasn't injured very recently. Len, overall, it was a very good team performance. They waited and they went through the storm. They weathered the storm for as long as they could. But then in the second half, the more that game kept going. Yeah. You were starting to feel like something's going to happen. Not that they were peppering Kaylin Sheridan or anything, but you just kind of felt that momentum really start picking up. And eventually it just caught up. And it was, you only have so much luck to begin with.
One thing I will say about San Diego Wave, whether they didn't get the result, right? Because you're alluding to this goal at the end, right? And it's a heartbreaking moment for San Diego Wave where you get this loose ball, you win it, you send a long ball over, and Abby Dahlkemper kind of doesn't get the right header on there and sets up the attacker nicely to get the finish. It's a play that you saw coming, and unfortunately for a lot of San Diego sports fans, you kind of have to be used to this, right? I know, Tony, you've been a lifelong San Diego, and you're kind of used to events like this happening in sports games, right?
I mean, sure. Like in any game right here, Abby Dahlkemper, I mean, unfortunate, bounce off that head.
That's so unlucky right there. My sister just walked in. I told her like, oh yeah, this game's almost over. She saw that header. She was like, aren't they on opposite teams? Why'd she pass it to her? And like, I told her like, she definitely didn't mean to pass it to her. It's kind of unlucky. Yeah. But that's just very unfortunate. And then, for the touch on Corey Bethune to get that chest in there and then hit the shot, like, look at this chest. That's perfect.
It was the greatest perfect by Abby Dahlkemper for sure. And I mean, and I think the struggles at center back is you can't let the ball get over behind you. You have to try to get a touch. And I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't the best touch for her, and it sets up the attacker nicely. But I will say this about San Diego Wave. Since the return of last week and a lot of the starters, a lot of the national team players, everyone back in maybe not so much full health, but healthy enough to start, they are competing against the best. They are playing up to the level of competition, and this is a San Diego Wave team that you can see and say, okay, they can easily play and beat Washington Spirit, or not easily, but they can compete against this team and try to get some points. This doesn't dismiss the case that you still haven't won a single away game in 12 weeks, in 12 matches. This is a problem for San Diego Wave, and it's a problem that Casey Stoney needs to fix ASAP because you're running out of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just running out of time, you're really running out of options to really start tinkering with stuff, because that's what the regular season should be. The midseason, you have these players that are coming into form, you have some injuries, but you're going to be rounding out who your starting 11 is going to be going into the playoffs, if that's what you're hoping to do, right? Abe, I think you had in your article on San Diego Football, I believe you had a stat of just ties, right? Like just what it is versus what it was.
This season, they've already tied the total season draw total from last season. So 11 games thus far, they've already tied last season's tie total. So no matter what, you're gonna have a worse season than last year at this point, unless you go on a win-loss streak, which I highly doubt. But I think I was kind of proud of what I wrote this weekend, that the Wave are caught in the rip current, because they haven't moved. Like, they're just, since the season started, they're stuck in the same exact place in ninth place, just not moving, swimming, playing the same exact way. Like, have you guys ever been caught in a rip current before?
Yes, and it's not pleasant. And as strong as I may be, guess what? The ocean is
It's
stronger.
Yes.
Ocean
It's kind of
wins.
scary because you think you're like doing something, and then all of a sudden you're like, I haven't moved. Why?
Yeah.
Where's my like towel? Where am I going? That's where the Wave are right now. They're moments away from, if they keep swimming, next thing you know, they're not going to be able to swim back to shore.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, like you're going to that stat that you said, you're 3 losses away from tying what you had last season. So I mean that's not a position you want to be in. You have 11 goals in favor, 11 goals against. You have the second worst offense in the league, tied with Houston. Your only wins are against the bottom 3 teams in the league: Bay FC, Seattle Reign, and Utah Royals. You've only had 2 games this season scoring more than 1 goal in a game. Like, this is a struggling team.
Mm-hmm.
And whether fans or people want to admit it, like, this is bad for San Diego Wave, especially from what we saw last season. And it's the same team,
Essentially,
and they got essentially better players too. So I really think Casey Stoney's kind of figured out, like we mentioned before. So it's a matter of Casey Stoney just being willing to change up something, because defensively, yeah, you're set up nicely, but offensively, you need something. You need a spark. You need something else. I don't even know if another player would make a difference. I think it's just the tactics and the way they're playing offensively that's just not working for San Diego Wave.
they're a defensive team, like through and through. Like that's what they are. They're a defensive team that just needs to figure out how to
But even
take
a defensive
advantage.
team needs to score more than 1 goal a game.
They
if you
need to
wanna
take
win.
advantage of the opportunities if they are few that they have, and that's exactly what they did with the goal. Right, they took advantage of a window on a very strong team that just just wasn't there for that play. Great play by Jaden Shaw, great cross by Maria Sanchez, great overall teamwork and team play. But at the end of the day, you have to play 90 minutes, and if you want to go ahead and be back into that position, now we're not even talking about the Shield or this. Is Casey Stoney and Wave really thinking about being first place? No, that's out the window. You got to make playoffs. You have to make playoffs, and that's the new status quo. Make playoffs and then worry about everything later. We'll hear from Casey Stoney here, unless Abe or Chiba, you have anything else?
I think that's pretty much it I had for Wave.
All right,
It's been tough.
Let's hear from Coach Casey Stoney. Yeah, a good performance overall here by the team. The result at the end may be bittersweet, but can you talk about what it felt like on the pitch? The ball seemed to be traveling well and working in transition, the spots that you guys had. What did it feel like to get some offensive firepower going at the end with that goal of yours?
Yeah, I think that we definitely came out with
That is Jaden Shaw, by the way. Just breaking news. That's Jaden Shaw. We'll hear from Casey Stoney here in a bit.
a little bit of a front foot, and I think that getting in behind a couple times, just putting a lot of pressure on them really helped us succeed in the first really like a decent chunk of the game. So I feel like I'm really proud of the group for coming out like that, and yeah, I think we just need to continue with this moving on to Gotham.
Fair. Good goal. Now this is Casey Stoney. Coach, despite the feeling that the end result might have, the performance was tremendous with work rates on both sides of the ball. What about this match are you most pleased with on the performance side of it and makes you optimistic to continue on this away shift?
First of all, I'm gutted for the players. I really am. I thought they deserved more out of tonight. I thought they were tremendous. Like you say, on both sides of the ball, I thought we played some really good stuff at times. I thought we created some really good moments. I'd like us to create more and defended so well for so long in the game. We were just a little bit, I think, naive at the end in terms of where we've put the ball, how we've dealt with the ball. And then listen, that header could go anywhere. Like it just feels like we can't catch a break, but you make your own luck. So we'll keep working. We'll keep trying to do the right things. And hopefully the tide will turn because yeah, like I said, the players deserve more tonight. They gave absolutely everything that, emptied the tank, and I can't ask any more of them.
Tom.
Hi, Tom. Very nice question compared to the last time I faced Casey Stoney. I had
you were a lot nicer.
I was.
Te dio miedo, huh?
No, I think that
You got
it was a fair
scared.
question.
See.
Nope, I think it was a fair question. And you know what? Some people may not think so, but I may have learned a lesson.
I hope something
Thank you,
changes.
Abe.
I hope something changes soon for San Diego Wave, because I mean it's been rough, and I don't know what Casey Stoney needs to do. That's why she's the head coach. That's why she got a contract extension. So we'll see what happens. Never been to a Wave game. Do you guys think it's worth going?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Go. If you want to experience Snapdragon and a game day experience that's going to be very similar and honestly pretty much, perfected to how they want it at this point. There's still improvements in every aspect. I think you have more pyro. But yeah, definitely worth going. There will be a chance, not soon. There's 2 more matches before
Next
another home
game
match.
is June 28th. It's also going to be their Pride Night. Definitely check it out. It's going to be a fun match against the Chicago Red Stars. But before that, San Diego Wave are facing Wednesday Gotham FC.
They're facing Wednesday from the Adams family.
It's also the cheapest ticket, by the way. Like, if you ever go to any event at Snapdragon Stadium, it's going to be expensive. But San Diego Wave, you can get in for like $10.
Take the trolley.
Yeah.
Parking is very expensive there. But yeah, so I mean, they're facing Gotham on Wednesday, and then Houston Dash the revenge game on Saturday. Any predictions, gentlemen, for Wednesday?
And we'll wrap this up and going into the Call of the Sirens. But I do think that we're going to go ahead and see another tie, a good tie. I think this was a good tie at the end of the day. Take that last play out of the equation. San Diego Wave wins that game more times than not, and it's unfortunate. And we're actually going to have Coach Carolina Soto coming up after the Call of the Sirens just to get some insights on what that happens and what do you say to players when you have those moments where you might lose a game or tie and it feels like a loss. How do you bring those players back, and what's that experience like?
I'm gonna have to go with a loss for San Diego Wave on this Wednesday. I mean, Gotham is the best defense in the league.
True.
So a defensive team against a defensive team that scores more goals, I can't see them winning this game. I'm gonna go with the Gotham win here.
I got 1-0 Wave. Wave have never lost against Gotham. They, for some reason, have Juan Carlos Amodis' number. So 1-0 Wave.
All right.
Love that. All right. So with that, we're going to go ahead and have more San Diego Wave action. Abe, I'm going to go ahead and put you away. We have a jam-packed show. With that, let me put everybody away. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. With that, we're going to go ahead and bring in our segment, The Call of the Sirens, and then followed by and set up at the San Diego community segment with a great event aided by the Morgan Foundation down in Southwestern College and here in the South Bay. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and play the video. And with that, we're going to go ahead and welcome on Nicole and Evan. How are you?
Hey guys, good. How are you?
Pretty good. How's it going?
As there's only, let's move some things around here. Let's okay, you guys can talk. It's fine.
Like, you guys see the cool stuff behind me.
Yeah, look at
Oh,
that.
right. I was like,
Look at
oh,
all
I'm gonna
that.
put the blur on because it's like I have things that are fun to look at.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and go right here. And again, we welcome you on to the program. Thank you for coming in. And I mean, we wanted just to touch base on a couple of things with the San Diego Wave supporters, the Sirens and the COVID and everything that they have going on. Pride Raiser, you let me know. You have a whole a beautiful just layout. You let me know when you want me to fire that up, Nicole.
I like graphics. Yeah.
All right, I'll fire that up right here.
And introduce myself and who I am, because I know a lot of you guys out there.
Absolutely.
Kind of looking back at see those photos. Just my time with so many people I love. Like, that's really what the soccer supporter community means to me. And it's also just been such an embrace of our, good values and community to be together. So yeah, I'm a member of the Sirens now. I'm still also a member of the locals at Chavos. Like I'm in it. But right now, like Wave is my team. And we're really excited to be doing Pride Raiser again this year. So a bunch of you are probably familiar with it. So this year we selected Trans Family Support Services to be the recipient of our Pride Raiser donations. They're near and dear to my heart as being the mom of a trans kid, now trans teenager, I guess. So because they were really, one of the life-saving elements and resources for our family. So it's really important to me personally that trans kids are getting recognized, getting, the support they need in our local schools, and in our community too.
Absolutely. And Evan, if you want to give a quick introduction, and we'll get to the graphics here.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having me on. So I'm Evan. I use they, them pronouns. I'm the Director of Education and Advocacy at Trans Family Support Services. I grew up in San Diego, although I don't know too much about soccer. I was a water polo kid, so same season. I didn't really get to watch soccer games. But but yeah, I feel really strongly. I'm really glad to have any sort of visibility when it comes to the work that we're doing and our community in affiliation with sports, because I know how much getting to play on like a team, especially a team of folks who actually believed in me and like who I am at the age that I was, it was life-saving. And so I'm always glad to be able to bring sports and the trans experience together. So I'm really glad to get to speak with y'all today.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and fire this up here with Pride Raiser and just kind of give a little bit of insight on what's going on. And you let me know. I'll be the PowerPoint clicker here when we switch from here. But a lot of great shots from what happens. And for those who are asking if it's worth going to a Wave game, absolutely. It's definitely a great experience out there of just a loving community coming together, and they're only getting better there in the Cove.
And it's the only pro soccer level we have right now.
Absolutely. World class.
Show out.
Yeah.
It's really the best in the
world.
And
I think in the Cove too, to be right there so close. I mean, Kaylin Sheridan is turning around and like telling us to fire up. Like we feel like we have she's my favorite just because it feels like we have such a relationship with her being so close to the goal. But it's fun. I got the chance to be a chant leader last week with Zakia when they were in town. So that's me with the microphone there. And it was just super fun because we're getting, I was in 109 for so many seasons where everybody's so close to you and you feel it, but hearing a whole stadium singing with you at Snapdragon, 20, 30,000 people is pretty dang amazing. So but yeah, I really love how it's always been such a safe and welcoming and accepting community space throughout the years to bring my family to. And that, we stand up for what's right while we love our team. So, yeah.
It's not just standing up for the right to party. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. It's that too, but it's everything. Sure. So. Yeah, so our Pride Raiser this year, we have some stats, and I'd love for Evan to talk a bit about, what they do and why this is important. But so we've got 3 more matches, but we're all ready. We've got 2 goals. So all of those kind of low predictions for the next match, I don't want to say I'm okay with the tie, but as long as there's a lot of goals, that's what I'm after. I'm after goals this month. Because for the month of June, we've already raised $1,416 in the first 2 games. We have 60 pledges. So at prideraiser.org, you can find the Sirens pledges. We have a total of $708 pledged for goal right now. We want to get that up to $1,000 per goal. So let's I'd love for Evan though to talk more about what Trans Family Support Services does, because that's who we're supporting.
Thank you. And I apologize for the Yes, he's used to this being our time together. So, yeah, I mean, the work that we do, so we do a lot. I always tell folks, especially families, that we're kind of your one-stop shop for trans services. And all of our services are accessible virtually. They're all free to access, and we really pride ourselves on being able to offer our services in both English and Spanish. So we do as much as we can to make sure that the information that needs to get out to the community is getting out. Um, for the first 7 years of working with Trans Family Support Services, I led the youth programming department. And so through our youth programming, we get to connect directly with trans youth and young adults and provide them like community spaces, supplies for like gender affirming gear, things like binders or wigs, whatever it is that they are looking for, as well as just generally making sure that they know that like trans kids are allowed to grow up into trans adults. When I was first coming out, I thought that like when I turned 18, I'd have to magically become cisgender. I didn't get to be trans anymore. So getting to show them what successful trans adults look like is a big part of what our youth programming does. We definitely have parent services, but like I've never touched that world. I'm not a parent. As important and wonderful as it is, I think Nicole could probably speak better to the work that our wonderful parent and family programming team does. But then what I get to do now with the org is I lead up our new department of education and advocacy. And the work that we're doing now is making sure that everyone has the information they need to be a better trans ally, and where we are noticing some gaps, in particular with schools and school board meetings. We're trying to fill those gaps. We're trying to make sure we can provide appropriate resources to really combat the ultimately deadly like anti-trans rhetoric that's being put forth in some of these meetings and in some of these really public spaces, to make sure that our students know that there's California law that protects them, but there's allies everywhere who want to see a safer world for them.
Love that. But at the end of the day, that's is what the sport is all about. It's for everybody, and I think that's when people, because we've gotten questions as far as like, why do you not talk about X's and O's here? Because this leads into each other. Like this is all part of the same fabric, the same thread that makes soccer so good. Like it's as long as you can play, and again, like, one of the best things, and we'll be coming up here. I see Coach Catalina Soto coming up as well. My favorite thing about her class is that everybody comes together, and it's one of the funnest classes that I had ever taken in the sense of soccer. And that's really something that I don't care who's across from me. There was a guy named Khaled who I'm still very great friends with, and he lives in Saudi Arabia now. Like, and then I play with, people who play on the Southwestern College women's team, and just put it all together.
Soccer just brings everyone together.
It's just
and that's the beauty of it.
It's just the best.
Yep. I'm playing over 50 women's soccer now. I just started back up again, playing the full 90 minutes, and it's great. And I'm meeting all these women who are in their 70s, and they're like, yeah, it's so great because once you retire, you can like travel around the country to tournaments with your friends as your vacation. I'm like, what? I didn't even know that like people in their 70s and 80s were still playing. That's so cool.
That is so sick.
I love that. I love that so much.
And Nicole, you were mentioning there's 3 games left in June. You want to just touch base on where people get for those games and just kind of the logistics of these watch parties as well.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some great watch parties going on for the next 2 matches. So we've got 2 this week. The match versus Gotham will be having watch parties at Chula Vista Brewery and also at Fairplay. And then we'll be in Otay Mesa for the Houston Dash game on the 22nd. And then we'll be at Snapdragon on the 28th for our Pride match. So that's going to be a really fun night. Hope to get it really packed. Come join the Sirens tailgate in the yellow lot. It's a lot of fun. And we're kind of the hub of a bunch of different tailgates all together. So it sort of becomes one big tailgate. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, these next matches, that's where we want to get all the goals, because June is our month for Pride Raiser, where every goal counts.
Let's get some skin in the game here. How can you get involved?
So first of all, you can like pledge a goal amount. So a lot of people are doing like $5 a goal, $10 a goal, right? at prideraiser.org. So just go to the URL, actually the Siren. So there are a lot of different teams around the country that are doing Pride Raiser for the month of June. And then cheer on our wave goals in June. We've got 2 already, so we hope for more. So, you know, every goal that we get gets us closer and closer to being able to really support trans kids. And then when June's over, you'll have your number of goals, and the Pride Raiser sends you your donation amount, and then you make that directly to Trans Family Support Services. So there's no like extra money on top of it that goes to Pride Raiser, whatever. That's a nonprofit that solely exists to set up the back end support to make Pride Raiser happen every June. So your donations go directly to these awesome people who support us.
Awesome. Now we just need San Diego Waves to score more goals.
Please,
Come
Yes.
on.
please score.
Yes.
We need more goals. Please score. That's what we need. Maria Sanchez and Jaden Shaw making sure that this number goes up. Really amazing stuff at the end of the day. The Pride Raiser scoreboard here. Let's get those 2 goals into double digits. It's possible. There's 3 games, you know, hat trick here and there. Alex Morgan needs to get it together out there. But with that said, is there anything else that we can go ahead and touch on before we let you guys go for this segment of
I think that's it. Yeah, I think it's the team scores more goals, and then, you know, my goal is to get us up to $1,000 pledge per goal. So, you know, if that's probably 50 more people, if you can go ahead and put a pledge in, even $5 or $10 a goal really helps us get there together.
Absolutely. I really love that. Evan?
I was just gonna say, if you can't donate, maybe like things are tight for you right now, but we're coming up on Pride season, so there's lots of ways to get involved. If you want to volunteer your time with us, if you're interested in just coming by and supporting us with an acknowledgement or a wave at any sort of events, follow us on social medias. We're Trans Family SOS on, I think, everything. And you can find out information about how to show up and volunteer and where we're going to be throughout San Diego County, because it's always a good time wherever orgs are.
Love that. No, absolutely. And thank you for coming on. And this is a platform for whenever any of y'all need. Here we are. It's part of the community. I don't know how we, got this platform, but you know what? Let's go ahead and keep doing it. I really appreciate it.
I mean, I love you guys and how you bring all of us together in the soccer community. So thank you so much for all that you do and how you include everybody. And I got to say, I love your new logo on behalf of my brother.
The great Travis Peterson, absolute legend, creator.
I'm just Travis's sister. That's all.
No, he's just Nicole's brother.
Oh,
You'll like that one.
You should tell him that, Nicole. You should let him know they said that.
Oh, he's a listener. He's probably on right now.
Oh, yeah. He's a loyal listener. Perfect. So with that, Nicole, Evan, really appreciate your time. This has been this week's Call the Siren. That's what we do here. I mean, again, we were going to talk Champions League this whole time. We were going to start this and, hey, let's get some World Cup press passes. We got Copa America press passes, and we're one step away from the FIFA World Cup. Mm-hmm. But you know what? There's this international sort of thing that I've always loved, and I touched on it a little bit here, that it's the unification, the you know what religion originally meant? It derives from religio. It's the connective tissue between bones.
This is your philosophy major?
Actually, this was from Mr. Peter Boland at Southwestern College. Southwestern College is just getting an absolute bump here today. Right there, absolutely. But with that, one of my favorite class that I was mentioning is that, because you meet people from across the university, from across everywhere. And then Coach Carolina Soto, who's coming up right now, is the professor for that class, and she actually was involved in Let's Go South Bay / Alex Morgan's foundation in helping in the South Bay bring soccer to the community and open it up, not just soccer, but just more opportunities for young women here in the South Bay. With that, let's welcome on my former coach, I'd say, Professora Carolina Soto, Southwestern College. How are you?
Hey, Tony. How are you?
Good. I don't think we've talked since the end of that class in person or just vocally, but I gotta say that was one of the best classes of soccer. And with my long, let's say, college career, not for whatever reason, either that had to be one of my favorites. So I'm glad that we're still connecting somehow. So how are you?
I'm so well, Tony. It's so good to see you. The last time that I spoke to you or I saw you, you were holding up the back line in my class. Everyone was scared of you. You were like the wall, you know?
I am glad to hear that.
Yes, I remember you. You are a legend in my class. But it's good to see you doing some great things. I'm really proud to see you doing this. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, how awesome, you know? And I go, I know that guy from somewhere. He's the wall in my class. So look, yeah, it's really nice to be here. Thank you.
We got people coming in. Miss Soto was PE teacher at Chula Vista High freshman year. She's the GOAT. I mean, you're very involved here in the South Bay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You continue on and just kind of walk us through, right? Let's Go South Bay, an organization here in the South Bay, and had an event at Southwestern College, combining with the Alex Morgan Foundation. Could you walk us through a little bit what Let's Go South Bay is?
Yeah, so Let's Go South Bay is an organization that came together with board members here from Chula Vista, all women who really had a vision to create more spaces and create more access for young girls in our community. And so we really worked hard in making sure that we provided the same access that other affluent communities have. Here in the South Bay, we are ignored at times, and there is so much to have for vibrant communities that really deserve the same access that people from, like I said, affluent communities deserve. We need our own spaces. We need our own soccer fields so that we can have more people playing. Like you guys say, we want to play. Soccer brings people together. We need places to play. And why not South Bay, right? So we had this vision with founding board member Norma Chavez and other board members, Nomi Aiken, to also parents of soccer players. And we said, this needs to happen. So we came together to expand those resources to make sure that we were advocating for a community that is overlooked. I come from the South Bay. I am a professor at Southwestern College. I am part of the women's soccer team. I grew up playing club, and I had a group of, of women who had the same vision, and I jumped on board right away. And so we had this camp that happened last anybody else. Alex Morgan Foundation was our donor, our main donor. It's our signature event where we have 65 girls come to camp, where we're not only showing or demonstrating or teaching quality training with exceptional coaches that come from Southwestern or from San Diego State. They're young women, and we bring them, recruit them. And we have leaders that are not only teaching great skills, but also teaching. We're partnered up with, Warner Athletics, who they're not only teaching skills in the classroom, but we're out in the field, but we're also teaching in the classroom to build confidence and to really have a variety of opportunities to give these young girls who at times get ignored and who matter. 13 to 15-year-old is such a hard age. And for us to be able to provide this, to have Alex Morgan come to Southwestern College Chula Vista and Kaylin, Sheridan, that was amazing. So for me, it's just, honestly, it's just such an honor to be part of this organization, to be part of the community, and to really be someone who can advocate and say, hey, look what we have here. Look at our facilities. Look at our girls. They're amazing. Look at, these board members. Look at these coaches. Look at these organizers. And we matter. And we need the same equity that other communities have. So that's what Let's Go South Bay is about. And it's not just about this camp. It's our signature event, but we do so much more. And this is just the beginning. We have so much more planned. We have some mental health workshops in the works. We do coaching education for women that are getting into coaching, and so on. So for us, it was, let's have fun. Let's teach some soccer. And let's build confidence along with it, because that's what soccer does. It unifies. It's our vehicle to be able to reach out to these girls and to say, look, yes, you like soccer, but look, we can also teach you this. You can leave here feeling stronger, feeling more confident, and you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. So that's really what Let's Go South Bay is. And honestly, it was a great week. I am so tired. I think I lost my voice. I know you asked me last week, but I was like, I don't know if that's a good week because, I lost my voice. It was just so much fun and just a lot of work, a lot of passion, and a lot of love. And I think that's what makes Let's Go South Bay so great.
Absolutely. And one before you, I know you had
Yeah, no,
something.
go ahead.
But the first time I met Alex Morgan was actually at the release event when they revealed that they were gonna. This is the crest, this is everything.
Mhm.
And the one thing I asked her, because I was like, okay, like you're Alex Morgan. What do you say to those athletes or young women who are coming up in soccer and might want to make a career out of this? I was very taken aback by her response, and it kind of reflects exactly what you're saying and what she's doing out in the community as well, and that it's not all just soccer. Like there's other things to do and people can be great at. This can be a component of it. If this helps you reach those goals, then that's something that you're definitely go ahead and lean into. But it's not all soccer, right? Just because statistically, like not everybody gets to become Alex Morgan, but more often than not, you become a better person through the discipline of soccer. And so that's just great to hear that that's continuing. And she's not just talking the talk, she's walking the walk.
And I love that there's an organization like this, right? Because I agree, South Bay gets overlooked so much, and there's so much talent down in South Bay, whether it's National City, Chula Vista, San Isidro, anything that has to do really south of the 8 gets overlooked so much. And I just want to ask, like, how special was it to see Alex Morgan and Caitlin Sheridan out there with the girls that were participating? As a person that's been in the game for as much time as you have been, how special was it for you to see these players out there?
It just was special. It was just, it's hard to describe in words to be able to like, oh my God, she's walking here. Like Alex Morgan is here and she's talking to our girls and she's telling them like, look, like this is what I did and this is what you can do. And I believe in you. And not just, like you said, not just, talking about it, but actually walking the walk, right? Like she's investing in our community. And to see her there, it's just magical. And to see the girls' reactions and, she could have chose any community and she chose Chula Vista. She chose Let's Go South Bay and it was intentional and it's a partnership that's very valued. And these girls are going to remember this for the rest of their lives. And we're going to see this is creating waves of confidence, wave of empowerment. These girls are going to come back. We have a program where once they age out, because it's 13 to 15-year-olds, they come back and volunteer. So they're giving back, and now we're getting these coaches that get so enthused about like coaching that they want to get into the profession of coaching. There's not many of us Latinas who are coaches. Tony, you happen to have me, as your professor, but, which I loved having you in class, but it's not very common, right? And so, I know that visibility is important. I know that we have these role models and to have Alex Morgan and Caitlin Sheridan take the time to come down after practice and to invest in us and to have this energy and this, like, just the words that they said were so kind and so humble. Like, it's just magical. It just to us, board members and Let's Go South Bay coaching staff, we were just like, we were like on cloud nine. It was like, oh, I want her autograph too. Can I get a selfie with her? So it was super cool, man. Like, it's just, I mean, she was at Southwestern College where you were playing, Tony, so how cool is that? And her husband was very supportive. Also, Caitlin's partner was as well very supportive. And it was really just a very magical moment. And the camp it's just very special. Like nothing exists of this sort, really. And for it to exist in the South Bay with the efforts of our board and the people that believe in us and that really, our families and friends and the community, you guys, like this is what it's about. It's about coming together. Just like what soccer does, right? It brings people together from all over the world. It's just this one passion, but it goes beyond just soccer. It's about the classroom and everything else they learn, the partnership with Warner Athletics as well. And, everybody that was part of it. It's just everyone had so much passion and exceptional coaches, exceptional staff. And, it's just honestly like, what a great event. It was a great event. Like I said, I don't think anything exists elsewhere. And the efforts of our board and of their passion and what we believe in and to come together, that's magic. It was magic.
And you can hear the passion in your voice for this and just really being a part of it. And it's exciting just to have that in the community here where, as you're saying, it's very underrepresented in a lot of ways. When it is represented, guess what? It's for a photo op. Oh, look, we went to the South Bay. We went over here. Oh, South Bay. We went to Barrio Logan and blah, blah, like, it's about actually being there. So kudos for getting this put together. And I mean, in any way, that small way that we can never help, just let us know, because it's something that's incredibly important. We work with youth in the elementary school sphere, and we have been working for combined almost 20 years.
Yeah.
But like it's something that is incredibly important overall. So let us know, or just, this is your house whenever you want to go ahead and do that.
Thank you so much.
And
That'd be so much.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I know, now we have Alex Morgan involved, like the Wave can be involved, like she can hook it up with some tickets. Have you been to a Wave game?
Yeah, I love the Wave. I'm a huge fan. Like, we had season tickets when it first opened, and one of the things that Alex Morgan is doing next week, we're going to be part of her homestand. So we're taking some of the girls from our camp. We're selecting them. It was like a raffle where we selected like 20 to 25 girls that are going to be at the next match in her homestand. So it doesn't stop here. Like, we have this group of amazing people that have come together that are now part of our family, I would say, and we just continue growing and providing more access to them. So it's not like, oh, the camp's over, see you later. It's like, okay, let's keep going. Let's go to Wave games. Let's do this. Let's have more training. Let's have help with getting into college, financial aid. There's so much that we have. There's such a need, and there's so much that we can do as a community to keep growing and to keep empowering our youth to do better, like you guys are doing, right? You have your your podcast, and you work with the elementary school kids, and it really goes beyond like your work. It's just so fulfilling, and there's just so much satisfaction in just working with youth and knowing you're cliche, but you're changing lives, and that's what it felt like last week. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. I'm so proud of you, Tony, and it's really cool to see the women that were here before me. And so, it's nice to see that. But anything you need as well, just anything that you think of that we can come together and keep building and investing in our community, like we're down. Let's Go South Bay is down.
Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, and Let's Go South Bay is a great name. I love that so much.
We were between Let's Go South Bay or Vamos South Bay, right? So we're a little bit of both.
I love that. One last question, Coach, before I let you go. We were talking about the actual Wave game and how they tied, and it was a last minute tying effort here. And what message would a coach say to the players who have been down on their luck, and it hasn't been the best offensive performances? They're getting it done, but they just can't get over that hump and get a victory. It feels like a loss with a tie like that. What's that message?
It should feel like a loss. A tie should feel like a loss. I'm sorry. Like when we tie, I'm like, we should have won it because we have the potential, and I'm not gonna be okay with a tie. I'm here to win. However, I'm gonna recognize the efforts, but we want to win. We're here to win because we can win, and that's the mentality that I instill in my team and I instill as a coach. Sometimes people think I'm crazy, but that's what I do. Like, I want to win. A tie is not a win. But what you want to do is keep their spirits up. So you build on what you did well, and you keep working, and that you got to grind and have a lot of heart. Sometimes it goes beyond the skills and the formations and everything else that's technical, tactical, like that's going to come with the heart and with the support of the fans in the stand as well. We're the player number 12, right? Like, we're the ones that bring in that extra, we pump them up in the hype and so on. But as a coach, I'm very competitive, and so I want to win, so let's keep working, and you just build off what you did well, and you try to get that W.
I love that so much. I've known so many people.
We're going to clip that and show it to Casey Stoney.
Casey Stoney.
Hey, Casey Stoney.
You're on the hot seat. Coach Soto is
You
on
just
the way.
lost last week's game. The tie is a loss.
No, I mean, you gotta, it's the glass is full, it's half full, right? But it's still not full. So let's keep working.
I love that. I just want to go back and take me back to that class.
Let's enroll.
Hey, I'm so down. Like, you have no idea how down I am. Because like when I wasn't dominating in the goalkeeping area in the big field,
you were out of the field.
It's all the guys. Kip was the testosterone, bro. I played at Rebels and blah 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 blah. And it's like, that's cool. No, I went over there and I showed up,
but I busted my knee.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then I showed up
with your copas. With your Adidas copas?
The Adidas copas.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I remember. I was like, yes, I see those cleats.
And then I would just go on the side field in the intermediates and really just play in the field and get my cardio on. And that was just fun
Soccer
overall.
classes are fun for sure.
Man, I miss that. I might just drop in. Like, I don't know.
You have a class next semester?
I do. And guess what? Now we have an indoor soccer futsal class. That's super fun. I recommend that class. Yeah, we have a lot going on at Southwestern. We're growing as well. It's just, there's so much. And, we have these classes. We got the kids, or the young men and women in our classes that are just like thriving. And they bring out their cleats and polish them after not playing for a couple of years. And you have guys like Tony that comes up and everyone's like, who is this guy? And then they can't pass him. He was a ball, I'm telling you. You're a legend, Tony.
I believe it. I've seen him in action in person.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love that. Well, Coach Soto, on this homestand, you're going to be, if you look up, we're going to be in the press box. We'll try to visit and say hi and say hello to everybody. But I want to say again, thank you for everything you do here in the South Bay for the community. Keep the class going. It's not an easy job doing what you do, and it's very unselfish a lot of times to be in that position. So I want to thank you for taking the time. And I know it's late, but thank you for coming in, and we'll stay on the lookout for anything for Let's Go South Bay coming up. And anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I put my daughter to bed and then I snuck over here. I have a 5-year-old and she's like, "Good luck, Mama." She goes to bed and I'm like, okay. So yes, thank you so much. And you guys keep doing what you're doing, and anything you need, we're here. Okay. Adelante.
Love that.
Have a good night.
Thank you,
All
profe.
right, thank you so much.
Bye-bye. All right.
What a guest.
What a show.
Yeah.
What a
it's
show.
great episode
Sandy
so far.
UFC, STFC, Chucky Mania coming up.
I just want to
We're gonna
point
revamp.
out when she mentioned a tie is a loss, I'm throwing in Abe, you were celebrating.
Dude, she was going off. Everything she said was factual. Like, if you haven't won any of your last 5 matches, you're basically losing. Like, it's been brutal to watch the Wave this season, honestly.
It has been brutal.
It's been painful, and that's the thing. You know the quality that's out there, and you know that those chances are there, and it's just unfortunate that they haven't been able to get a point out of it. But ultimately, this is the result of injuries, compilation, and an amalgam of different just instances and missed opportunities. And Casey's been able to be pretty honest about that, and I think there's only so much you can talk about. Now you got to put it in action, string along a couple of results, string along a couple of goals here and there, and you're going to get some results to get yourself into a playoff position for San Diego Wave. I
can't believe she hyped you up too. Like, that boosted your ego so much, didn't it?
100%.
I didn't do anything there. I didn't do anything there. I just showed up to play. Those rug burns are trophies. Like that's. Bato, there's
the
no
soccer classes
better
are fun.
There's
Soccer
no
classes are
better
fun at college.
feeling of, again, just being underestimated, and especially in goal. And then you have, again, Khaled, great guy, would never shoot, but he can juke and had 5-star skills and everything. But it's like, no, I know the type of player you are. You're going to come at me. You're going to go ahead and go right. They're going to go left. You're not going to shoot. I'm just going to go at you, and you're going to fly somewhere else and you're fine. But that's just the nature of the game.
That's just the way
When
Tony
super
plays.
veterano comes over, bro.
Oh, man. Yeah, San Diego Wave.
I still have those copas.
I know
I
you
still
do.
I still
I
have
know
those
you do.
copas. Still use them.
All right, Tony, I think we're going to bring it back to the Chucky Mania, right? Just to kind of wrap up.
I do believe so.
On what happened. So, Abe, do you want to stay on? I know you kind of want to.
One thing that you guys didn't mention from the press conference that I thought was really cool was when he got emotional talking about Enrique Mesa and also just looking out at his family. I think, especially Father's Day yesterday, having like a father figure like Enrique Mesa there for him, it was like really powerful to see that kind of emotion from like an introductory press conference. I don't think we've ever seen that in San Diego sports history, honestly.
I mean, it's not that is true, right? It's not often where you see a player of this caliber kind of just touch base on who the coach is that gave him their debut. Like you didn't see Chicharito taking who was the coach in
De La Torre.
There was a Chepo was 2006. I don't know if it was Chepo at the time. that gave him his debut. I think it might have been, but you don't see him taking him to the Manchester United first press conference, right? So I do think that was a nice touch.
United SDFC press. Okay, tranquilo. But no, I get the exact
cuando
sentiment.
regresó a Chivas, pues.
I get that exact sentiment. But right before, actually, like you saw Chucky get emotional on two different times. And that was the first time when he was talking about just
the first time was when he was kind of being introduced and everyone was kind of talking about him and coming to San Diego. And I think it was a lot of emotions coming in for him. Like, it is a big move. You know, you're moving your family from the Netherlands over to San Diego, essentially closer to Mexico. So it is a big move for him. And I think it's very special. I think that's really what drove him to go to San Diego, knowing that, yes, San Diego is super nice to live in. MLS is a new challenge, but you're also very close to being in Mexico, to where he really does call home.
There was a lot of different reasons to be emotional, as we talked about, right? This deal has been getting worked on since January, the first couple of days of January. And there were a lot of different options and there were a lot of different deals. And the Right to Dream aspect, the academy aspect really spoke to him in a lot of different ways, where he saw himself in the kids that are going to be coming up to get that opportunity to be able to come in. But I think that just that moment, right, of even Mr. Mansour, right, the chairman, had just FaceTime Tom Penn and company just to say, you know, welcome and all that good stuff. But I think this is emotionally the perfect guy to get for SDFC.
Yeah.
This is the perfect person to really go at it and go to war with and have that type of personality, that heart, that corazón, that
Chucky Lozano.
it's true. And it's Chucky Lozano. Because that's the thing.
Dude.
This could have been, I mean, I'm sorry, but I didn't see Marcus Vartson in tears. I didn't see Jeppe Sverskov, you know, just weeping.
And the thing is,
with his
we
family.
talked about it before, right? They could have signed Raul Jimenez, who's still playing in the Premier League and kind of getting that format, but it wouldn't have been that same impact. Like, Chucky Lozano's 29, you're a little past your prime, but you're still in that competitive level. And Chucky Lozano is that player that is going to run his ass. He's going to play 110% every single game. He's going to chase after every single ball. And I think that's exactly what SDFC wanted. And that's exactly what they're going to get. So it is exciting. But yeah, Abe, thank you for bringing that up, because he did get emotional. And it was beautiful to see Profe Mesa there as well. I mean,
that's a legend.
Just
like
a legend
100%. Like when I saw him, like, Vato, ese Lojitos Mesa.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of these moments where, like, in doing coverage and doing this, like I pop, like I have that moment of like oh my god, like Jorge Campos,
Osvaldo Sanchez,
I freeze. But ultimately, like, it's just a great ambassador for the game, on multiple fronts. And you know, this guy right here.
You said
Tyler.
You said he listens and watches some episodes.
All right, so as this was happening, because I misguided people into believing that they were going to be on the left side, we missed on Chucky. Edwin
Laporta te saluda.
Shout out Edwin.
Okay, Abraham, bye.
Adios.
Listen, I'm not an America fan, but my grandpa would love that comment.
No, I don't know why I said all, but
yeah, I mean,
well, in my history with my parents, Tyler Heap is one of those people that had been involved with SDFC. The name was around, Right to Dream. There was I believe he was one of the first officials from Right to Dream to have an interview for SDFC wearing the SDFC crest. And so it's cool to see his transition. I heard him actually at the Chucky Mania after this kind of joke with some SDFC officials about, like, hey, did you see, like, there's some accounts that are like, breaking news, Tyler Heaps announced as the sporting director. And then Tyler, and then then Tyler was just kind of like, yeah, that's funny. Like, yeah, like, it's cool. Shout out to, I don't know, Terrible Padre memes.
I think it was Tom Bogert that made the official post after the press conference, because technically it hadn't been announced anything about Tyler Heaps. Like, so
correct.
I guess Tom Bogert's a big scoops guy, so figured it was a scoop.
Tom Bogert,
if you're in San Diego in the know, you kind of already figured this was the move. Breaking.
You don't know this.
Oh.
John Bogart's on San Diego Punto Football's radar. Coming on soon.
That's awesome. I did know that.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, because I DM'd him.
Best mustache in soccer. I think he might take that title.
Yeah, that's a very baseball mustache he has. I think that's the first question. That's where we lead. All right, so Tyler Heaps, San Diego FC CSO, so Chiefs of Soccer Operations / assistant.
The regional manager.
Assistant at wait. You see, you messed up my joke, man. No, he's assistant sporting director to a non-existent sporting director. Okay, there's no sporting director right now, and he's the assistant sporting director, which makes no sense.
Sporting director.
I think interim works out.
Interim.
Right?
Yeah, but they announced him as the assistant sporting director. Like, this is no shade at all, but
man right here brought you Chucky Lozano.
Yep.
I guess so, but
so
listen, Tyler Heaps was a great interview too, by the way.
Yes, he was. And so this is how this came together, right? So I misguided everybody, and shout out to the person who gave the lob and be like, hey man, I'm working media
DJ,
connection.
Right?
Yes. Just hey.
Tony doesn't like to throw names out there.
Former guest of the podcast. Shout out. And he's like, hey, like, I can get Tom, I can get Tyler. And as soon as he said Tyler, I'm like, let's go. Let me get Tyler 100%, because everybody's talking to Chucky. Every question was to Chucky. Every question was in Spanish. Shout out Captain Ratchet, Mario Solano. Everybody wanted him to. That's a great name. Everybody wanted to ask the man of the hour. But again, we're San Diego Punto Football. We're going to be covering this team day in, day out. The hundreds of people that are covering that event aren't going to be there every week. So this is what's going to be important in the build out. We'll play this interview here just because I do think it's very important to get a gauge of exactly where San Diego FC's team building process is. They have their big major marquee star in Irving Lozano. That was the guy. That was the target man. S tier, one of one. They have to get this guy, and everybody else comes after. They got Chucky. Chucky is here in San Diego. What's next? So if you guys are okay, let's hear for some from some interim. Sorry. He says that he listens to this ridiculous show, right?
Apparently, he said he's a big fan of you.
He said he saw me at the Southwestern College class, scouted me. No, but he was talking about like, hey, like, just being very cordial and saying, hey, nice to meet you, Tony Sanchez. I think you introduced yourself to Abe, and he's like, oh no, like I've checked out a couple of your guys' episodes and this and that. So I think you put it in my head, Abe, that may not be the best thing, or that might be like somebody who is about the things that we say here, because hey,
people are listening.
We go and talk facts, and then we put our opinions, but ultimately facts are first. And we've said some facts that that we are in the know, and people might take differently to that. Anyway, big fan of the show, Tyler Heaps. Here, shout out, saludos. Let's hear from Senor Tyler.
Player on the depth chart, which is probably the first and foremost, but also it's a very integral piece of 2025 and beyond. There's no doubt that he has footballing qualities, and obviously he's got also the leadership skills and the adaptation to different leagues, and we see him as a fit in this league. And I think that's what's most important, is how do we fit into our style of play, as well as how do we fit what the league offers and what success brings, and we think his profile can do both of that here.
And so when scouting the league itself, right, it's a brand new team, it's a brand new vision, the academy setting coming in with Right to Dream as well. What is that process of really breaking down the league and what's going to make a team successful, and having key pieces like Chucky Lozano integrated in that?
Yeah, it's about finding the balance. I think the glory about this group is that we're not a brand new organization, right? We have a style of play, and we have a way and a vision that we want to play. We need to adapt to the league for sure, because it is a different league. You travel through the summer, you play in grueling weather. Luckily, we have these perfect conditions here. We can hopefully play on this pitch exactly how we want every week. But we need, and we've been doing an extensive analysis on that. We've been looking at data, and we've been looking at what success brings, what Columbus does, what Red Bull do. I think what you see in this league is very diverse, and you've got different coaches from different backgrounds trying to do different things. I think from us, it's about sticking to what we believe in, and then making that work in that sense. And again, it's about trying to find, okay, Chucky is now a piece of that. How do we surround him to make him the most successful player here in San Diego?
So a lot there from Tyler, and really, I think the biggest takeaway from that is that he acknowledges the chaos of the MLS, the uncertainty that people are trying things, experimenting, things work, and where otherwise they're not, because you have to play a certain way, a traditional way. You think of like Europe, right? The Premier League. Like if you don't play in a certain way, in a certain style, like you're gonna get run over at the end of the day. Him having that AS Monaco experience and knowing how the French league and Ligue 1, Uber Eats on work, give him that insight to really put together a very interesting game plan that's now spearheaded by Chucky Lozano. And clearly, looking at the data, it's not like they just got him it's not like they just got Chucky for the marketing aspect. No, like that there is some thought. And I think that's exactly what he said right there. There's some thought into this selection, into this individual that's going to really meld into what they believe in as Right to Dream is going to make this team ultimately successful in the MLS.
Yeah.
And one more thing, just to hear it from a soccer specific person, not just from Tom Penn, to talk about how Right to Dream is going to integrate into their play style was really telling to me, because it's one thing for Tom Penn and Cody Martinez to talk about it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure they will play like that, but to hear it from an actual chief of soccer operations is actually means a lot more to me, I think, because then that just shows there's an actual true commitment to playing a specific style, which is pretty crazy for a first year team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we're gonna be just quite honest about it, I mean, Tyler Heaps is the guy that's going to know the style of the game. He's the guy that's going to be in charge of a lot of the things from the back end, right? I mean, not Tom Penn, not Cody Martinez. So I agree. Hearing from Tyler Heaps is just kind of refreshing to hear, especially in the eyes of media. It's like, okay, finally, we're hearing from someone that really knows what they're talking about. And it's not just someone that's very media trained.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a slight on anybody, right?
No.
I don't know what the X's and O's and football, soccer IQ of, say, a Cody Martinez / Tom Penn is, but hearing and understanding those two individuals, I think it's not their strong suit. They are good at what they do and putting a team together. Tom Penn did have many conversations involving this complicated just negotiation that had to happen between the player, between the agent, between PSV Eindhoven, between bringing in the MLS, resources in and just putting it all together. So that's what he's great at. He's an expert in doing that, and he helped definitely spearhead this into the next level. Now we're talking soccer, and this is why I really appreciate being able to have Tyler Heaps speak to us, because it gives that insight as far as no, this is a tangible thing. There is a real plan, as you're saying, Abe, and it just should make people excited. I think that's at the end of the day, people should really be excited about what he says, and we'll continue here with a couple of more questions. He's a funny guy too. He's a charismatic guy, charismatic fella.
So earlier you mentioned a five-a-side group that you have already, right? It's going to be a tremendous here at practice. But what pieces are coming together with the players that you already have with Indvartsen and Sverskov that's going to contribute to Chucky's style of play?
Yeah, I think Chucky fits in very well in that. I think we see Marcus either as a 9 or as a winger. He's played both for Northland as of late. Marcus's special qualities in the box. We see Chucky obviously providing him service, whether that's from the right or from the left. And again, as I mentioned there, he's a player that can come inside, he can stay wide, and he can obviously go 1v1. And then Yeppe is the metronome, and I think you need that, right? He's the guy that's kind of setting the tempo of the games. We want to go from slow to fast. We want to obviously speed the game up in the breakthrough phase and try to get into transition moments. So I think Yeppe does that for him and allows to control the game, where Chucky can kind of find his spaces, whether it's between the lines, whether it's in behind, and so forth.
So without necessarily giving names, because obviously there's a lot of rumors in the world stage now as well.
It's like dirty talk, he's just speaking soccer facts, soccer language to you. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. No,
it's beautiful. This guy can go on the wing and he can go the one-on-one, and he get
This is what we
Yeppe
live
is
for.
going to be he can really just set the pace of the game. And this is what you get from someone that knows game. So
talking ball.
Exactly.
You think you know ball knower, Abe?
Ball don't lie.
That's a ball knower right there.
Also,
Yes,
another
sir.
thing, he scouted against Chucky Lozano because he used to work for USSF and for the men's and women's side to scout opposing analysis and would
couldn't stop
scout
him,
against Chucky Lozano, which is nuts.
They couldn't stop him. They could not stop him back in the day.
No.
And that's what you want, right? Like you want somebody who's critical of pointing out the weaknesses in an individual, but then again, also being able to highlight the strengths because you have to cope with those strengths. What?
That's why he brought Chucky, so he doesn't get to play with Mexico anymore. I see you, Tyler Heaps. I see you. He's still working for the USS.
And so obviously the next question is like, cool, you got Chucky Lozano's in for sure.
Who's next?
Who's next? As Bill Goldberg would get asked or say, and then said, "You're next." Tyler Heaps on who is next.
What would the prototypical next big player be for San Diego FC?
I think we're a popular club to link with at the moment. And so, yeah, look, we still need pretty much everything, right? I think that checks the box in terms of a dynamic winger. Now we're probably looking for a little bit different profile on the other side. I think that 10 winger is important for us. I think it's really important in MLS, and some clubs have had way more success finding it than others. So that's a constant communication. We also need to cement the spine, which means obviously we need to find some center backs and a goalkeeper that can also allow us to play that we want to play. It can't just be anybody. And again, a ball playing center back sometimes can be difficult to find. So we're looking at that. We're looking at that internally. We're looking externally. We're having a lot of conversations, but the timing is really important. It's difficult. We have 6 months till we have a team. So you need to find a solution for people that are out of contract this summer, and you need to find if that is the case, or you need to make sure that the timing is right where we can get them in January.
Tyler.
Center backs.
Tyler.
Center backs.
Keep it coming.
There's a
All
center back that just got released in Spain.
Who is pretty good on the ball.
Who is pretty good on the ball, great at headers, great at set pieces, a great leader, some per se.
Yeah. He'd be very adaptable into something like this.
Again, everybody knows Sergio Ramos. Yeah, go ahead.
100%. Sergio Ramos. Who do you guys think should be the coach of SDFC? These are the negotiations that are happening now. This is the phase of interviews where STFC is.
If you can play the news sounder, Tony, I got some sources at this.
Ooh.
Tom Penn hinted that the next big signing would be the head coach, not a new player. Most likely would be the head coach.
You heard it here first. San Diego Punto Football. This is where you get your breaking news. And I think, for the most part, I think there's been like one or twice that we've not been accurate. But for the most part, like this is definitely something that's been, if you're paying attention, you can read between the lines. This is what's coming together, right? Because at the end of the day, a coach didn't make the decision to get Chucky Lozano. There wasn't, whoever's coming in, I don't think was probably like, I need Chucky, I need this.
Yeah.
It was just a bigger picture thing with him. They have him. Go ahead and utilize what we have for you to start off, because you need something to start off. 1, 2. Something that he also mentioned is that goalkeeper.
Yeah.
My boy Duran. Love you, Duran.
Come on. I mean,
sorry.
We all got to be honest. Durant was not going to be the starting goalkeeper for this team.
He has years to grow. Like,
Yes,
again, the prime of a goalkeeper is in the
16, 17,
late 20s now, early 30s. And so he has a long journey to go. If it's before that, great. But I think those two takeaways, and there's been names already in those positions. You mentioned Sergio Ramos. You talk about Keylor Navas. There's David De Gea out there. So there's different components that are going to start coming together sooner than later. And I think with this big announcement out of the way, everything is cleared. Now you can really start to get those nitty gritty players, because you need the Invartsens. You need the
Of all the
Svetkovs.
goalkeepers, you don't mention Ochoa.
Well, I think we've talked about that at nauseum. Right now, same thing. There has been truth. There's been contact with the club and Guillermo Ochoa. The likeliness of that happening is not that much at this point. Especially when you're talking about what they're targeting as Right to Dream. Tyler's talking to you, Chiva.
Yeah, he is.
He wants somebody who's secure on the ball.
So
I
you?
don't know.
So you?
So me. I don't know how world renowned Ochoa is at being secure on the ball, if that being one of his strengths or not. There you go. I like that. But ultimately, like this is an exciting time. They're looking at players who are available as a free agent, looking into January, looking at contracts. It has to be just the planets aligning in many different ways for this SDFC team to really start being competitive out the gate. But it's not just marketing, glitz and glamour with SDFC. There is actual work happening in the back on a footballing stance.
There's like
here.
those soccer talks being.
Yeah, there is San Diego soccer talk. Maybe we should do that. Should be a
San
segment.
Diego soccer
All right, do we
That's
continue?
our whole
Do
show.
we continue this,
That's
Abe?
the whole show.
I like that.
And one last question. So San Diego is obviously a destination just for about anything when it comes to just living life in general. What is the experience of the players that are coming in and yourself as well? Just kind of having that as a big ticket item. Hey, come to San Diego. It's probably one of the best weathers and climates in the world. Like, what's that? Is that really a ticket for bringing people over and recruiting?
We're not short of interest, that's for sure. I think we've had a lot of names being thrown at us, and again, it's about us following our process and make sure it's the right player and the right system. I think what also is challenging though is the cost of living. So people want to come on their terms and on their fees. And look, it's also no secret that it's a very expensive place to live and to move a family. And so we're trying to find that right balance in terms of people that are committed to the project and want to come, because the roster rules make it very complicated to be able to fit all those moving pieces. So look, I had a chance to go out to Singing Hills yesterday. We're standing here on this beautiful stadium. We're going to have the infrastructure, and we're going to be competing with the rest of MLS in terms of having one of the top venues here, and hopefully the fan base obviously gets behind us, and we need their support. But I think it's a very attractive place to come. It's a little difficult now. You can't provide, hey, this is what we look like, because we don't exist yet. So we're trying to find clever ways in terms of how we do that.
Perfect.
I like that he didn't say it's a soccer specific venue. He just says it's a great venue.
Why would he say that? Why would he say that about Snapdragon Stadium?
Oh, just some people think it's a soccer specific.
But the
stadium.
soccer guy just
call it a venue.
Just call it a whatever.
Yeah.
Tyler Heaps.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Great name. A good little nugget there of just being cognizant of the reality of the place that we live in, right?
Yeah.
Even for professional athletes, it's an expensive place to live.
Yeah.
Chucky currently is looking at neighborhoods.
Bato, if we can live here, they can live here.
Can we live here? Do you live alone? Do I live alone?
No. But
This is a garage.
You're not gonna live alone.
Wait, let me remind you, this is a garage.
Yeah, a lot of players used to roommate for San Diego.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, I mean, and that's something that can definitely be a place, a thing of attraction, right? San Diego,
Vaxton and Yepe might not roommate together.
Nah, no kinds. Those two are North Park boys if I've ever seen one. So, like, just PB on Thursdays, like it's gonna go down with them. But ultimately, like, yeah, like it's a reality. It's a very grounded take, and from what we got from Mr. Heaps here, and there's so much that is gonna need to be explored with this man. We've already requested an interview, so we're gonna go ahead and
That's
just
gonna be a fun one.
Wait for that. Hey, if you're listening, if you want more of this, if you want more soccer talk like this, and not just the
Give this a
pageantry,
like, a share, a
it.
retweet.
Ask SDFC, like, hey, we need to hear more. We want the two balls and a mic guys to do it. That's what happened when we got Tom Penn. That's what happened when we got Andrew Carlton across. That's what happened. Like, people wanted it, demanded it. Like, yes, I just put those two in the same category.
That's crazy.
That is
As
insane.
guests of two balls and a mic, absolutely. Those check the boxes. All right. But this is a reality of things. We want to be San Diego's #1 soccer coverage. In the press conference, and the three of us saw it. There's so many people there who are there because it's the story of the day. They figured out how to say Chucky,
the day before,
or right then and there. Like, where's Chucky? Where's this Chucky guy? But this is what San Diego sports media, soccer outlets should be having and commentating.
They're
about.
going to learn, and we're there to teach them too.
Absolutely. So again, thank you everybody who's already put us here. Ojitos Mesa as new SDFC coach. Pato, oof, I mean,
ya está acabado, compa.
oh man, like mil respetos, but oof, it's
He's a
está
legend.
viejito, güey, está
Let's
viejito,
leave
güey,
him as a
está
legend.
viejito. Mil respetos a
Sí.
señor Enrique Mesa, but
Yeah, and Tony has a history with.
what do you guys think about the stories about SDFC becoming the new Real Madrid?
I think that's kind of like a little more in the past. I think that was more of a rumor and just kind of like bringing all these rumored players like Luka Modric, Nacho Fernandez, Sergio Ramos, all these players kind of like rumored to come in. It was a great story at the time, but I think SDFC is kind of like a little more past that now.
What do these fools get paid? That cost of living is an issue. Well, I mean, you're a professional soccer player. You're not going to want to come in and, oof, what neighborhood am I about to trash? You're not going to go and live in Skyline, right?
I think they're all gonna just room with Duran. Duran's probably got a nice house.
Yeah, I could see that. I can definitely see that. I hear Esteban Toscano has a couple of empty rooms. Shout out Esteban.
Worst comes to worst, I mean, I know you would rent out the garage.
Yeah, I mean, and this is true. Athletes supposedly look at state income tax when picking, and that's definitely
We sure pay a lot of taxes.
yes, we do, and lots of gas taxes. But Chucky's made enough money. Not enough. I mean, make more, make all the money you want, right? Like, but he's made enough money across his career to really
Where do you think he'll buy? La Jolla, Coronado?
not
La Jolla.
Coronado, La Jolla probably.
It's got to be gated community. Coronado's too easily accessible.
Yeah, maybe it's a little too south. I don't know. Yeah, get Century live in Tijuana. Duh.
East Lake?
I was thinking about East Lake, like con todos los.
Piojo lives in East Lake, doesn't he?
Los Marquillos allá? Who?
I think Piojo lives in East Lake.
I think he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Con
Sí,
todos los Marquillos.
muchos
Yeah.
niveles, güey. Es el Piojo
Who do you think bought him
Herrera.
that house, Hank Rom?
Piojo Herrera in East Lake. But then you got El Dentista, Hugo Sanchez,
Coronado,
in
with his
Coronado,
dentist
bro.
office.
Think Ramos is in play.
Yes and no.
Define in play.
Maybe.
If it's literally the base of it, yes, yes. Will it actually happen? I don't think so. At this point, but again, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Carlos Saviña was set in to be the sporting director from AS Monaco, connection with Tyler Heaps as well. Definitely the younger
Fabrizio
players.
Romano got that one wrong.
Huh?
Fabrizio Romano got that one wrong.
Yeah, he did. Well, not wrong. Things change, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
things
that's one of the
change.
situations where things change from what I'm being told. Like, that's exactly what happened there. Like, things just fell through. Esteban, definitely the younger players and the less valuable player will live with each other. Chucky is for sure buying a house. Yeah, no, 100%. And he loves the community. Hugo Sanchez, in my opinion, is a great fit coach this team. What's your guys' take? Absolutely not.
No, you need someone that's been coaching. Hugo Sanchez hasn't coached in years. And when he was a coach, he was a terrible coach. So,
Yeah, he won a bicampeonato with Pumas.
Pero
that was
con un
already built.
equipazo. Con
Yeah,
un
it was already
equipazo,
built.
yeah.
I
He
mean,
drove Mexico to the ground, didn't qualify to the Olympics. Probably Mexico's worst coach ever.
Captain Ratch and Mario Solano says shots at Skyline. LMAO. I think that's just Skyline itself with the shots.
Oof.
Dude.
I am one of those people with a legal police scanner, so I know what happens. Vato, come on.
All right, guys.
Once you're in Encanto, like
I kind of want to
National City, homie.
move forward. I mean, after this press conference and everything, there was the Chucky Mania event at Radio Show.
Mhm.
And I think we kind of want to touch base a little bit. If you were there, it was a fun event for fans in general. I know a lot of people were not too happy either with the amount of waiting that they had to do.
Mhm.
But Abe, you didn't get to go to the Chucky Mania event. Tony, we were both there. You got there pretty early. What were your overall thoughts?
I always do. All right. Expectation was like, this is the most premium, and I think I mentioned it in last episode. This is the most premium feeling event, soccer related, that seems to happen. The watch party in the World Cup with Wave X Loyal, like that was a little bit more of a, I don't know, like it wasn't necessarily a one event, like everybody's going to this. They just like a celebration of everything put together. It was a great event. This though, it was like they were gonna put their stamp, and they were really gonna roll out Chucky to make him feel and be like the superstar that he is. And in that regard, everything went as expected. The visuals were amazing. The Rady Shell venue is great. Technically, with our press passes, I think we covered our first concert through San Diego Football.
Yeah, we did.
There was concerts at the San Diego Loa games at halftime. Okay, so this is not your first concert.
I didn't cover those. I wasn't like, hey, Rossi Rock, what's up, bro? Hey, hey, smooth like I'm inside. It's a good song. Shout out Rossi Rock. But in any case, the event felt big. There was a heft to it. There was intentionality. Everything seemed to be okay and great. Then the Lunai concert happened. And I'll pause there because there's a lot of that happened. And we also made a video package of as we hear my Mexicanness.
Yeah,
definitely
go check this video out on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, you were saying, right? People, I mean, this guy got there from like
it was the first one in line.
4 o'clock, yeah,
first one in line.
So obviously, with the big Pachuca fan, I mean, the line was long and people were getting in there since 4 p.m. And I'm just gonna say, Lunai didn't come out till 8 p.m. So that's 4 hours that people were either buying some drinks. I don't even know if they had food. I think it was
they had food for purchase.
They had food for purchase. So buy some drinks, get some food, kind of chill at the grass or get a good spot. But I do think the wait time was very long. And then Lunai performed for about an hour, which I think was a little too long. I mean, people were there to see Chucky Lozano. I did hear a lot of people there. I'm here to see Lunai. So some people went for the concert alone, but I think majority of the people there were to see Chucky Lozano. I think it would have been cool if Chucky Lozano kind of comes out first and just they do the presentation. Chucky Lozano ended up coming out till 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I was worried. I was like, oh, dude, his kids got to go to bed. Like, it's just late. It's a Thursday.
Who was I talking to? I maybe Ryan, maybe Amor, but it's this Americanism in sports in the US, right? Where everything is catered in these events to the people that don't watch the actual sport.
Yeah.
The people who were there for Lunai aren't probably the people who were there for Chucky Lozano to begin with. Same mentality with the Super Bowl halftime show. The people who are there for the halftime show, I don't think are going to care about Chris Collinsworth and now Michaels breaking down a play and telling you why, you know, the nickel defense, like that's not what they're there for. But in the American sports mentality, like you need to unite those because it makes more money, because you know what? If the girlfriend, if the kids want to go watch Lunai, then I'm probably gonna get a chance to now go watch and meet Chucky Lozano or just say or chant to him and be part of the event. And so in that regards, again, you check a lot of boxes. It's a great thing, but oh man,
for me, it would have been a lot more fun. I mean, I like reggaeton, and you know, I'm not the biggest Lunai fan or anything, but it would have been fun going more as a fan than even as media, because I mean, what are we supposed to do during like it can't be dancing or anything like that. We're there to see Chucky Lozano and get some content, but there were some fights that broke loose. There's people that were passing out too. So
not La Raza, the supporter group at all.
No, La Raza, la gente de San Diego. You know, that's what happens when you have people drinking since 4 p.m. No, people get rowdy, and we talked to a lot of cool people like this guy.
Ray Penta. Here, Ray Penta MX, I named him. But yeah, like it was a good mix of people who were there, and I think that was my overall take. And my favorite question I asked people was like, "Hey, if you could talk to Chucky Lozano, what would you tell him?" And so the responses that we were getting were a lot of heartfelt things, right? Like there was a guy who legitimately El Vato de Morelia. I know he was in
I love him.
He was in the in the chat on Instagram earlier, so shout out to him. Said like, no, I love him. The guy who's a Pachuca fan, like he's like, man, like I'm ready here. I have some jerseys. My family's a big fan, and I think the most valuable thing there for that first initial guy that he said is like, hey, like, well, Pachuca Conca Champions contra SDFC. Who are you going to root for? He's like, well, you know what? My family's from Pachuca, but I'm from SD. So SD all the way, right? So those dynamics are starting to flesh out and setting up.
I think that's what I mentioned in this video too, where we recorded. It's people that are from this guy, Chucky 2.0. This is a Chucky.
Yeah, that's Chucky.
People that are soccer fans, right? That you have teams like, say, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man U, Chelsea, Liga MX teams, unless it's really like Cholos fans, you finally have a team in your hometown where you live. Like, the passion is going to be different, and I think that's very special for fans. It's something that I could even say, like you, for example, or anybody else, like you're a Chelsea fan or anything like that, you don't know what it's like to live in that town and root for that team and have that team represent your city. Like, now SDFC is here for a lot of these people. Again, I think it's going to bring a lot of new fans to the MLS. So I think it is exciting that SDFC is here. And I mean, putting events like this, yes, it's not the most fun to cover, I guess, sometimes, but a lot of people did show up. I would say this is a successful event for SDFC.
100%.
And yeah, Abe.
I'll say from afar, it looked awesome. Like, all the social media footage they put out, all of these like videos of these humongous crowds and the chanting. Like, as far as like, if there's a person sitting at home wondering like, oh, wonder what San Diego FC is gonna do, they see this. This is like nuts. I saw the MLS account posted it on their Twitter, and there were a lot of opposing fans like, wow, that's crazy for a team that has never kicked off yet. Like, they're already matching atmospheres from other teams across the country before, they've even kicked the ball.
Didn't know Chucky was 6 feet tall. Asked him his thoughts on selección training here in San Diego, and
without him,
and no response.
No comment.
The handlers of that, I didn't want to get him on camera. We had him on camera, but I cropped it out because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. There was like, I asked them like, hey, like, how do you feel about this and this and this? Just making a joke out of it. And then they said, estoy feliz. I'm like, oh, like, okay, well, they didn't hear me ask the question anyways. But again, then the Epic Lunite concert, and then that's all you get. Okay, I translated the press conference.
Yeah, you did.
I translated the initial interview with Chucky and SDFC. I offered. Nobody said yes, but I offered to translate the lyrics for Lunai's songs.
Yeah.
If you will, there is a lot of raunchiness there that I choose not to taint this beautiful podcast and show that we've had today with such an eloquent speak. However, my favorite part of this concert was a couple things. First, when he was like, la gente que vamos a seguir escuchando el reggaetón. And people were like, no, Chucky. And that was like after song 3.
Yeah.
1, 2. He'd be like, ¿dónde están los niños? ¿Dónde están los niños aquí que tienen que estudiar? Díganle a su familia que pa. And then he'd be very inspirational with like, oh, where are the children at? Like, where are the kids at? No, that's stay in school, kids. Don't do drugs. And then he would immediately go into a song of like, I'm going to grab her and grind her down into, and I was like, whoa, Lunai, whoa. To 3, it's really interesting just the Spanish, like, in Spain, me coges la bola, por favor, cógeme la bola. Oh, gracias, tío. Tío. That's fine. In Mexico, hey, ¿quieres cogerme la bola? Is very different to what just happened.
Yeah.
Another a term that was used by Mr. Lunai to hype the crowd out was like, hey, ¿cómo están todos? ¿Dónde está la gente? ¿Dónde están los latinos? Órale. And he kept using a word that people paused and was like, what? And I'll just say it because in his context, it means dude, friend, pal, guys, everyone. And he was like, oye, ¿cómo? I don't even want to say it anymore. Just thinking about the context of this beautiful show.
I don't think you should say it. What letter does it start with?
It starts with a P.
Yeah, I think people can get the hint with that.
It's not the chant.
It's not,
but
the
it's
chant.
but it's
P-U-N? No. ¿A cuál era?
Panetas.
Yeah.
Punetas.
Punetas.
But pura ñ on the end.
Yeah.
And, oh, como están mis punetas? Which took a lot of Spanish speaking people by surprise. Like, what'd you call us?
Yeah.
And he was going in on that word.
And the thing is,
so
in
long.
Mexico, that word is more of a
It's a more derogatory term for
Yeah.
LGBT community, and that's what it's used.
and I think
Derived from a dagger.
I think he's from Puerto
That's
Rico.
what it is. Dagger. Yeah.
So I mean, over there they kind of just say more like, "Hey, dude," like it's more of a common word to say out. But I mean,
Yeah.
know your crowd.
Yeah.
Know your audience.
Whatever they paid him, pay Tucanes de Tijuana to play 2 songs, and that's it. But yeah,
I'm sure they paid him a good amount.
it was a good amount. But overall, good experience. Chucky. Whenever I create a wrestler in my video games and it's like design and entrance, I turn, instead of saying, "Would you like pyro here?" I just say yes and just turn on all the pyro. This is what happened with Chucky Lozano. The pyro, the flames, the heat. Like you were there, like, oh my god, this feels hot. Like
this isn't safe.
It did not feel safe at all. But made him look like $1,000,000. Like this man, and you can feel that he felt the love. He felt the love immediately since being there the entire day, and to really be celebrated this way is something that must feel really cool. Must feel really cool. Had his family back there. Jorge Campos was back there as well. The fans, La Raza, going absolutely crazy. Which, Abe, I don't know how privy you are to this information or just what's going on, but I don't think it's a time to get into it just now. But La Raza, stay strong. From rumors that I've heard around and discussions. No se dejen, cabrones. Like this is what it is. Like that's the name, right? It is what it is. It was announced.
Back your talk.
Absolutely, fool.
Stand your ground.
And then we have our new graphics.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a great event. I mean, just in general, I mean, I think it was a little too long of an event, but I mean, it was still cool. It was fun. I mean, Abe, I wish you would have been there.
I'm so jealous.
I don't know what else. Tony, do you have anything else for SDFC?
I mean, overall, like there was the highs, there was lows. We found some keys, and we turned into work mode and say, "Hey guys, there's some keys on the floor. Toyota, handed them to somebody, and hopefully they found their way home." Maybe it's my inner boomer, but a concert that was way longer than it ought to have been. 100%. Like, if anything, split the concert in half. Chucky was there. Hey, half the songs, Chucky, and then perform with him or just do that. But again, I'm not an expert in setting these things up. I'm not an expert in marketing. I'm not an expert in anything of that nature. People who get paid the big bucks are the ones that decide to do this. And overall, 20,000-foot view, it was a good event. It was a great event. Again, the rabid fans for Lunai came together.
In the eyes of the club, you see all these people gathered together. It's a great event, and I mean, at the end of the day, SDFC put this together, so it's nothing like we've seen of a soccer team here in San Diego do, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to SDFC. Chucky Lozano is officially.
Except for the ball knower.
Yeah, he's been having that.
I didn't think it was actually gonna show. I did that in the pre-show thing, but I kind of left it on there. So
yeah, well, it's all good. You're the guy. You're the ball knower. I'll be mostly pasty white man in La Raza. Hey, everybody needs to be somebody, and people were getting out there, right? Like people were jumping, people were having a great time. There was a practice at La Nacion on 3rd Avenue with Barra 18 and just La Raza coming together and really honing those skills to make sure that they represented themselves in front of Chucky in the best way possible. It was a really fun event. It was great chatting with you boys there. No, absolutely. You and Brandon are killing it out there. Edwin, what's going on with La Raza? We can get that in on a later week once more things develop 100%. Because again,
or if we can have anyone from La Raza that wants to hop on at a future episode, let us know, and we can definitely give you that platform as well to speak your mind.
Absolutely. So, there was a lot here on this episode. Chucky Mania has come and gone. He's still here. We've reached out to the club to see when we can go ahead and get a couple of interviews. One with Tyler Heaps, one with Chucky Lozano. Obviously, everybody wants Chucky at this point. Probably should, wait for him to be housed in San Diego, get settled in, and we'll get to that. So with that said, make sure you guys take a look at everything soccer in San Diego through the lens of San Diego Futbol. That is definitely the website, and that is where you can go ahead and get everything you need to know, breaking news, and just in general. We get invited to radio shows now. We talk about and speak about these things. It's really the honor of a lifetime. Copa America is coming up. We're going to be able to cover Mexico in the Copa America, one step away from the World Cup, the ultimate goal for this podcast in general. It's absolutely ridiculous, and we couldn't have done it with every single one of you who have really helped us through this journey. It's been the adventure of a lifetime, and I will never stop saying that. Thank you for everybody who's helped out. Abe, you're one of those people, like it or not. Shout out to everybody in the Sirens. Call the Sirens. Thank you,
Coach Soto. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach Soto. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Evan, for coming on. Thank you, Abe. Thank you, everybody who contributed in the chat. Please let the club know. Let the team know. Like, this is what we do. Like, this is what we do. At the end of the day, we cover soccer in San Diego. Nobody's doing it like we do. Do we do the best job? We're trying. God damn, we're trying. Translating our press conferences. Like, it's part of the game. Subscribe. We're 80 subscribers away from 1,000. That'd be really
75
cool.
now.
75. Oh, you just checked. 75. Subscribers from 1,000 on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter for the latest news. That's really where we drop the most breaking news. Instagram is there, so check us out on anything that you want. San Diego Futbol. It's an honor, guys. San Diego Futbol forever.
See you all next week.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye, Abe.
Go to Edwin's house.
Oh, a la madre. Chingón. Everyone can still hear us. Bye, guys.
Have a great night, Esteban. Thank you.
Buenas noches.
Bye, guys.